Hello, meatbags. This is the ISO. So, meatbags, you want this? You want it? You can have it. No, you can't have it. It's too expensive. This right here is $10,000. Well, it seems like me and my friends may have dodged that $10,000 bullet. When it comes to the PC market, I've become a bit jaded. No, not that kind of jade. A bit nihilistic, a bit annoyed. The games coming out we're seeing are pretty good. Just saw the Game Awards, and there are several good entries coming. For instance, the new Divinity game and a new Forest game, which I don't know about the sci-fi angle, but we'll see. Not to mention GTA. What am I kidding? That's never coming out. If any of you are feeling kind of like things are getting a bit expensive, it seems to be getting more expensive. It's because of my rudimentary brothers that we can blame.
To the cutest little robots.
Oh god, he's making another AI video. Yeah, kinda. More like an in memoriam for PC building and other forms of gaming that require hardware as a whole. I'll get to the root of it. AI is sucking up all the hardware needed to run consoles, PCs, and in some cases, really critical things that we use in everyday life. Most of you have seen that RAM prices have gone through the roof. I got a couple stories about hardware that we've been working on throughout the years. I gotta say, in my friends group, I considered myself to be the one that's nudging everyone to get into PC gaming and building as far as a hobby. At least we upgraded our current rigs before all of the apocalypse happened with RAM.
Dirty 64 gigs of RAM, peasant! I have 128 gigs of RAM!
This has been a few years, so to speak, since the pandemic, so I'll give you a kind of a history on that perspective. This is mostly going to be my setup and kind of like the rig that I've got and all of my other friends' rigs and going through the story for it. So this all started back during the pandemic. I bought a pretty high-end laptop for the time. It was an RTX 2070 laptop from MSI. I still have it. It's pretty nice for 1080p gaming. It's got like a 1080p monitor with 144 hertz on it. It's still pretty good. And it's great because it's an all-in-one thing I can bring to places. I occasionally go over to Buttery's house. I occasionally go do things at a convention, and I like to bring a laptop with me. And it still runs Battlefield at a respectable 90 frames on 1080p. I didn't use it as an all-in-one initially. I very quickly bought some monitors for it and turned it into a desktop replacement. And I do still have the monitors that I had upgraded, so it's been a process and they're all integrated into the thing. I don't like to waste things. I started my setup here in my room and it's all pretty simple. As you can see, the chair sucked, and as I was upgrading, Buttery was still on the Xbox and we were playing Halo a lot. And when it finally came time to upgrade, I finally had a pretty substantial setup on my desk. I had an idea that I was going to get a high-end computer and I was going to pass my old laptop to Buttery so he could dip his toes into the PC market. Initially, I wanted to do the laptop route. Oh boy, that's quite the upgrade. Fits. Wow. As far as the PC building part of it goes, it wasn't until later, after Buttery had gotten a good taste for the PC market with the laptop, that I was arguing that maybe it was cheaper than buying everything on console and at full price. And, Steam is cheaper, and if you get a desktop, you can replace the components. Retrospect, we definitely did it at the right time. I went out and bought a 4090 laptop from Micro Center. That was after I bought a 4080 laptop. All right, let's try it this way. This is a disaster. Not much more than the other one, apparently. Only about $500 more. So, $500 more gets you about 50% more laptop, apparently. That is a big butt. Got some junk in that trunk. No, not junk. Very high-end. Maybe high-end junk. So we started our foray into PC gaming, and it was pretty good so far. I started having problems with the laptop that I bought, the 4090 one. It wasn't very performant in my mind for a 4090, or even a 4080 for that matter. Not to mention it cost almost $4,000. I said screw it and returned it and switched to a desktop. Best decision I've made in a long time. I got a custom build from Micro Center, and I've been going to that Micro Center for decades at this point. It's the one in the Detroit area. So how their custom build thing works is that you go and pick out the parts with one of the reps, and then they go and build it behind the desk. And you can, go out and do something for a few hours and come back and get your custom built computer. In my mind, it was build a computer around the graphics card. Specifically, the 4080 I had in mind, and the AMD Ryzen platform was kind of the name of the game. Like, it wasn't really early in it, but it was like pretty early in it, I would say. And AM5 and DDR5 RAM. I paired a 7900X with a PNY 4080. It was a decent price. I mean, we weren't very efficient with the core components, but I had reduced what I paid for the laptop. So now I'm sitting at a total cost of $1,800. Worked out pretty good, and I quickly found out that it wasn't that great because after a week, the motherboard started failing and blue screening. So I had to bring the whole setup back into the Micro Center. Now, so this is the second, or technically third, return that I've done at this point. And the reason the 4080 laptop didn't work out is because it didn't have a display port, a mini display port connection for VR. So I was like, no go. You can't run a high frame rate, high resolution through Thunderbolt, which is what they were trying to push at the time. So anyways, they gave me a few bucks and we decided to do this really nice upgrade to an massive, ginormous HP Omen 4080 desktop. Man, I love the design of this thing. The AIO is a triple fan setup, and the whole AIO sat outside of the main chassis up on top, so it would only get fresh air to the CPU. But yet again, after a few weeks, I started having problems. I got this weird graphical glitch where there was shimmering from lighting sources in Warzone and in Baldur's Gate, which is not a known issue. So I decided, you know what? No, we're gonna try this again. So I returned it again. But in the meantime, Buttery was settling into the laptop. He had gotten some peripherals for himself. He got the whole monitor set up and did the whole desktop thing. And he wasn't really using the Xbox a whole lot, but he was trying to justify it or trying to get it going. But it just Xbox. If you know anything about what happened to Xbox, they decided to get out of the console realm. They started dumping everything on to PC Game Pass. So anyways, I returned the HP computer again. This would be the fourth computer. And at this time, the manager was involved and he needed to fix this problem now. I decided to do my own setup completely and did my own research. I decided on a MSI motherboard and a 7700X as a B650 for the motherboard, a deep cool AIO, and power supply. Now, originally I picked a air cool, deep cool, but I returned that 2 days later because it just wasn't, it was too loud. It was too loud. It was cooling okay, but it wasn't as good as the AIO. And yes, this is the same deep cool that got kicked out of the market for selling parts to Russia. So they got sanctioned and kicked out of the market. So I got some rare parts here. It's pretty awesome. It's like a Seagate power supply, which is very nice. They had a really good reputation for being really high-end enthusiast grade stuff. And with a little help of the manager kind of squeezing out little bits, I managed to get a 4090 stuffed into this tiny computer. So the core computer was 360 something and the graphics card was 1750. And yes, a 4090 in 2023, reasonably priced 1750. It was right after there was a big shortage, and it was right before another big shortage, so it was the perfect pricing scenario. So bam, 2150. The core components were really basic, but they didn't throttle the 4090. That's what was important. I did build everything around the graphics card. Oh, of course, my problems weren't done yet. A couple months later, I started having problems with the motherboard again. So this time, return 5, I couldn't put my finger on what the issue was, but it kept turning off randomly. It blue screened pretty consistently. So I moved around some of the power cables and fan headers to maybe try to mitigate some of the issues, but I couldn't figure it out. So I think I figured out what the issue was 3 years later. It's the VR headset. It was crashing the USB. Go figure. It still does it, but I figured out what it was. It took a long time to understand the issue here, but the motherboard did have other problems. That was one of the exacerbating issues that managed to surface later on in other boards. And I'm on board number 4 at this point, or 3. Yeah. 3. Anyways, I went back, made sure to have them check everything. They were confident it wasn't the graphics card. It was likely the motherboard, but they couldn't replicate the issue because I said it was a peripheral issue. But the manager swapped it out for an Asus B650E-F, and it works great. I haven't had a problem since until I upgraded the new motherboard, which, even less problems. So very good overhead for all the stuff that people rag on Asus about being bad for RMAs or returns or whatever. I haven't had to do that yet, so crossing my fingers. But I've got an Asus TUF graphics card, an Asus motherboard, yikes. So I'm gonna have to deal with them at some point. And I slowly upgraded parts bit by bit throughout the years. And about a year after I did the 4090 build, Buttery decided to get into the desktop building market as well. And he gave me the laptop back, and well, he had him shipped in, and I went over there to like help him build it, and he's been on his own aggressive upgrade path since. Shortly after Buttery built his computer, Davin got into the game as well. He didn't want to be left out, you know, FOMO's a bitch, right? So we had originally sent him like my brother's in-laws kid or something, I don't know, whatever. He moved out, and there was just a spare computer sitting around, and it had some decent specs in it. I think I've got a picture of it somewhere here. Originally I had sent this to Buttery, and Buttery had put it on the ground next to his desk, and this is when he was still doing Xbox stuff, and it was like sitting in the, like, he has a kid too, so it was like early on in like, you know, the kid era, but it was on the ground on the carpet next to the desk or next to the Xbox or something. We get the parts to Dabin, and Dabin's like, yeah, the graphics card doesn't work. And he found some like liquid on the graphics card itself, so apparently something got spilled on top of it, and the graphics card was bunged, but he was able to secure another graphics card. The core components of the setup were salvageable. I think the only thing in his current build that's left might be the case. He might have upgraded that, but anyways, so it's a NZXT case, so it's, you know, decent. He cobbled together stuff, and we kind of like scraped together our little like co-op game stuff, and I think we managed to pull off something with COD. I don't remember, but he was very quickly wanting to get into the like higher end stuff. He upgraded his own setup with his own motherboard, his own graphics card, his own processor was upgraded, but you know, AM5 platform. Before all that, Junior had set up his own computer. This is like between when I was getting Buttery in it. Junior had kind of just came in straight off the rip, 4080 desktop, and Davin upgraded to a 5070. Originally, I think he was on the lower end of that. He didn't want to go 50 series, he wanted to go 40 series, but then saw that there was a good deal at Best Buy, so he jumped in on that. Junior had built his computer pretty much, I think, right near the beginning when we were starting to formulate the group, and he had Intel, like the 13th gen Intel processor that like was notorious for like burning up and stuff. He very quickly was like, I don't want this processor to burn up, and he was having some other problems, but you know, he returned that pretty quick. I think he had a 4080 setup. So he got a similar board, and this is before Buttery built his computer, but he got the same motherboard as Buttery with a 4080. And he has like the most insane luck, or he plays it off, or he's bullshitting us. Like, he has the most insane luck where he can just set something up or do something and he makes it seem effortless, or he's like really not telling us the entire story, which is more often than not I've seen him do that, where he'll just do something, not explain himself, and go, yeah, it was no problem, when it was like a hassle to do. Like, for anyone else, it would be a hassle to do. Like, so yeah, he's a little bit lucky, a little bit lying to us. But yeah, he's running bone stock, no overclocking, no like things that could cause instability. So he has no issues ever. He's got a cool OLED like widescreen too. So, you know, clean setup with the little keyboard. You see it right here. But while we were doing all this, Rage is trying to play Call of Duty on a 1080. I think he had just a 1080 computer from back in the day. It was like pre-pandemic, like 2017, you know, like he's just like scraping by, like, whatever, I'm only gonna play one game anyways, right? But Lily is like, we want to play Repo and other basic games, and I was getting sick of Lily not having the appropriate performance for these games, so I got on Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace and scrounged together old hardware. And I was like, AM4 platform should be great because, you know, I could spend $170 on just stuff, and then I had a spare graphics card laying around. So she was in dire need of an upgrade. As a little quick side note, this little 1060 in here is actually not the card that I originally sent her. I had actually sent her a 1050 Ti, and now I sent this through FedEx, I think. And there was some sort of hacky way that she had me send it to her, because the tariffs in Canada are obscene, like really bad. She was able to get this graphics card from someone else, because the graphics card that I sent her was broken on the way, like when she opened the box. So like, I don't know what happened, but there was some, like, they inspected it. There was some sort of like lockdown inspection that they had to do on it. And she got it broken, and it was like, all right, whatever. So she got it from another friend, and now she's renting this, but it's still, you know, this is still the original motherboard, the original, all this stuff. She got this case and this graphics card, and so we got to upgrade the processor and the graphics card next. It's still an AM4 though. Currently, she's in dire need of an upgrade again, and we might get screwed on the AM4 parts price, but we'll find out. Because I mean, as far as I can tell, high-end AM4 stuff, DDR4 has gone up, but like, not anywhere near as crazy as DDR5, but she doesn't need RAM. So all she needs is a processor and a graphics card, which is great. Maybe a power supply, I don't know. We'll find out what she needs, but we're getting there. But during all of this chaos with Lily, Rage just like said, I bought a pre-built with a 4080 in it. I'm like, you bought a pre-built from Best Buy? Are you kidding me? So during all that, Buttery has been working on his build pretty consistently, and he's kind of going for a Stormtrooper theme, but you saw from the beginning that he was doing that. He was finding little things to upgrade, and he started with this pretty sick white build, but it's like white and black, kind of like, you know, the Stormtrooper Darth Vader thing. And that's pretty, I mean, just the theming alone is just, I mean, look how clean the desk is. So originally he got a 32-inch LG Ultra Gear 1440p 180 hertz monitor. That's the one on the left. He then later on got a 240 hertz LG Ultra Gear, which is actually a 27-inch, just to kind of get a little competitive advantage. He's got this headset over there. It's a HyperX Cloud 3, I think. You know, like we did stuff with RAM. So he bought RAM before the whole RAM apocalypse. Well, kind of right at the beginning of it. So I had bought T-Force RAM, and I was like, man, this stuff's a lot more stable. It's a lot faster too. It's CL32, and it's got RGB on it, because we were going from, I had the Flare X5s, which had no RGB. So I upgraded that, and he was like, oh, that's a good idea. I should get that too. And this was like a couple weeks after I bought mine. I bought mine for like $100 at Micro Center, and he got his for like a little over $200. So it was like right at the uptick of that. And now that same T-Force RAM is like $600. So this kind of ticked off a like arms race to upgrade our rigs as fast as possible, because it seemed like everything was getting more expensive really fast. I had gotten a 9700X prior to that, but he was like, you know what? I'm gonna sell this Xbox. He sold the Xbox for like $400 something, and then he also sold his old RAM, the CL36 Flare X5s. Crazy thing is he took what he originally spent like around $100, probably a little less because it was in a bundle. He put the RAM on Marketplace for $150, and within like 15 minutes there was like a few people already asking for it. So he went for the first person, went out, met them at Costco, I think, and sold it like in the same day. And it was like, okay, so he's got money in his pocket now. He's like, all right, well, we got money, so let's continue to do some upgrades. So he got a 9800X3D, and oh boy, that really bumped up his FPS in Battlefield. He now consistently, we've tuned it in a little bit, but basically at 1440p you get a huge benefit from upgrading to a 9800X3D. He went from kind of just hovering around 200 to like, you know, pushing way past his 240 hertz monitor in refresh rate. He did a few upgrades, but not to mention that he also had a issue with his graphics card. I think the graphics card actually was the thing that kind of set it off. It might have been the RAM, but that all happened around the same time. But his old graphics card was a 4070 by Galax, and he had to do an RMA process. One of the fans going bad, and he was getting like thermal throttled like crazy in Battlefield. So he had actually gone through the RMA process. It was kind of a little painful at start, but this was like right after Black Friday, so it was a little rough. And basically their process was, can you show us the results? You know, okay, cool. So they upgraded him to a 4070 Ti, which another really big upgrade for compared to a regular 4070. So he's actually going to be getting it, and this is his final build. He's been doing like sticker stuff too. It's pretty nice. You know, this is pretty top tier theming if I've ever seen it. He also customized his glorious keyboard. That was one of the first things he upgraded. These are cherry switch, I believe. So it's like really silent, but it's got the pudding caps, and oh boy, that it's super smooth. Like, and then he got the custom keycaps, as you can see. Oh, sorry, no, I'm wrong. The first upgrade was the desk and the chair, but that was during the laptop time. So anyways, he's got all this overhead now, and one of the things that we were saying for a while is, man, he should start clipping some of his gameplay footage, because he does these really crazy plays in like Battlefield and before in Call of Duty. So now he's got like a bunch of overhead, so he's gonna actually start maybe streaming or just doing clips, probably clips just the beginning and then streaming later on. He's gonna have a channel. I'm gonna put it in the recommended when it pops up, and I'll let you guys know. But definitely really liking the aesthetic in this, and it actually inspired me to push into the white aesthetic, which I started doing. I'm going more of a white than his, you know, contrast white and black kind of thing, although mine is not completely white. It's more brushed metal and white, and then like light brushed, like shiny kind of stuff with a fish tank. Okay, so this is going to be a honorable mention for Derp, or also known as Bimbo Scrimbo on our Discord channel. I guess now is a good time. It's been like a year now, so I think now is a good time to talk about it, but I'm going to try and keep it as much as possible in his computer setup and like kind of the stories around that. There's a whole other story to it beyond the computer stuff, so we may talk about it later. I'm just going to try and focus on this for now. But basically, he had this computer from the moment that I knew him, but he had other peripheral stuff that does definitely warrant talking about it. There hasn't been any upgrades since this right here, and I'll explain that in a minute. But basically, he's running an AM4 platform, completely AMD build. Gave him I was giving him shit for it. I'm like, come to Team Green. It's all this Team Red nonsense with their drivers, and he had a great, it worked. It did the job. It wasn't like really low end or anything. It's a Radeon RX 6950 XT. That's still like 4070 roughly equivalent. Hold on, let me look that up. Let's see, RX 6950 XT. That's roughly equivalent to a 4070. So pretty good system on an AM4 running a 5900X. It's not exactly a gaming CPU. It is a productivity CPU and everything. So there's a bit of a drawback to doing that because it's a like 12 core processor, but he had room to go over to the X3D. But the thing is that he did not have a lot of money. He was homeless for a minute, but like he was living with his dad and had gotten this, I think it was like cobbled together, but he was living in a Harry Potter closet. Here, I'll show you what I mean. So that's about as much room as he's got. like there's not, like, it's his bed, chair, bed, whatever, like the ergonomics of this is just horrendous, by the way. I tried to like give some suggestions. We ended up sending him a bed. He was having back problems and we could just send a mattress. So we went with the mattress route just to like improve, because it was like about as bare as possible as far as comfort goes. Like he could touch either side of the room by stretching out his hands from where he was sitting. So it was pretty bad. So it was like, I think that I'm trying to like, condense it like in the small room in the house, like to try and like make it an all room where I can do everything in the one room. This is on another level. So he had shitty internet, shitty, like signal or something. I don't know what it was, but you can see the antenna here is an attempt to try and get better connection, but like practically no room for anything. He also had this weird desk thingy. He put his DAC here, had a microphone that just like, this is the computer, like this is the aesthetic of the computer, and like it looks, it's pretty good. Like it's like it's got the what you expect from like that era of computer too. So like it wasn't bad. He had this microphone that just refused to work properly for him. I was like, get a condenser mic, get USB, like get a regular headset, and just refused to just absolutely refused to try to like make his audio solution sound even remotely good. So he had this board here, and he would put his microphone on it, and it'd be far enough away but close to the keyboard, and the keyboard, you could hear the keyboard and it would trigger everything, and it was super bad. It was really bad. His dad would come in like later in the nights, and we got so used to talking and stuff, but basically he would walk in, and I was so used to his voice. His dad would walk in, and his dad sounds exactly like him, like almost 100% like him. So I immediately was like, oh hey, it's your clone. And his dad, of course, he told his dad, and his dad was like, fuck you. just right off the rip, just like no hesitation, fuck you. Of course, he's running an animated wallpaper. It's like eating away at the performance. Junior does the same thing. It drives me freaking crazy. Junior started to like scale it back to do like lower tier stuff, so it doesn't take a huge amount of performance, but he did the like ones that like really sucked up a lot of performance. So we had some issues that, you know, here and there, but I don't know what this picture is. It's something. It looks like, I don't know. Anyways, so there was no upgrade, and the reason was that I'll give you the short part of the story, like the shorter part of that story. Basically, Derp has had a history of like schizophrenia, I think, and like drugs like have like affected his mind or something. And so he was starting to kind of like go off the like really far off the deep end of that. He started smoking weed when normally that was like trigger or something, but I guess he wasn't on his medication, so he started like he like in Discord would start yelling random nonsense, like crazy, just off the wall stuff, spiraling, right? So we had to like contact his dad. Junior did. Yeah, he was just doing some crazy stuff, and so he had to go to the psych ward, and you know, we didn't see him for X number of weeks. He came back, he seemed fine, getting better. I think he was back on his meds, but so I actually don't have all of the information, or I didn't have enough information. It was all secondhand, but I actually got Junior here that can describe it from his perspective. Take it away, Junior.
So from the last day that I was talking to Derp, he was actually visiting or going to move out of the house. He was going to go with a roommate. He went out to go visit the house, and then while I was still in the conversation with him, he was at a Waffle House.
He said his phone was running dry, right?
Yeah, his phone was slowly running dry, and he was making his way back home. It was already late. It was roughly like maybe 2 a.m. And then ended up call when it ended up disconnecting. And then later, I didn't get to hear from him until like maybe a day or two later. And I got a call from his dad. And his dad called me saying that it was already late at the night and he ended up getting hit by a vehicle while he was trotting across the street.
Yeah.
Well, that's what.
So
he
didn't have a car, and he was like moving out or trying to move out, but like, wasn't he like dating someone or something? Like, trying to move.
Not to my knowledge. No, it was a friend. It was someone that he met.
Oh, okay.
And he was gonna go room with them.
Yeah.
And try to build himself back up again.
Yeah, because he put a picture in the Discord, kind of like showing the new place and everything. Let me see if I can find that actually. That's right here, I think.
But during the time, from what I know, he ended up getting it. There, that's the house right there.
Yeah,
that was where he was going to be moving to. That was actually the day too. That was the day, and then we went to the little restaurant to go chill for a little bit, get some water, and then that was when it cut off. We went. Then later, got a call from his dad, saying that he actually ended up getting hit by a car while he was crossing the street late at night because he assumed he ended up getting lost because he missed the bus he was supposed to take back home. Dang. So he ended up going. So he was out, no charger, no nothing. Couldn't charge his phone. Then when he crossed the street, he ended up getting hit by a car. They tried saving him, but when he got to the hospital, he was already gone. Or no, they actually did surgery first, but he didn't make it.
I didn't know about the surgery part.
So, yeah, they tried saving him, but he didn't make it.
Yeah. It's been he's kind of like, there's a little void in our group. You know, we don't really have a lot of people that have filled that void. Some have tried, but basically, rest in peace. But we're still trying to recover a lot of the clips. I'm actually going through a lot of my backlog, and I'm going to post on my other channel a lot of the old clips that I have with him. And you might have seen him in previous videos, but he's no longer with us, so we'll talk more about it later. But yeah, I figured I'd mention him. I'm going to go through chronologically what my current build looks like. I haven't really beyond what I had originally set up and where I currently am. I haven't really kind of bridged that gap. I think it's a pretty fun thing, but I'm going to go through the different pictures and stuff. And I'm also going to talk about my VR rig and kind of what I got right now. Before I go too deep into my current setup, I want to talk about my where I came from kind of scenario, if you know what I mean. Right here in front of you is an Alienware that I'm pretty sure had a GTX 260, you know, that kind of, pre-GTX. This was a dual GPU setup, if I remember correctly. I bought it from someone. They were like, you know, it's this. It had some of the coolest features, like it had the light up keyboard, it had all the Alienware stuff. Dude, Alienware, whatever happened to Alienware? Like they fell off for real. Like Dell ruined them. So you might have seen in a previous video that I had a HP laptop. It was like a TX 2000. I was playing EVE Online on. Yeah, check out the EVE video. I'll link it up here somewhere, or check it out on my channel. It's my history with EVE. That's the video. But I talk about my early laptop stuff. This is sort of in the middle. So this is after that. I was dual boxing EVE in this. Like, I think it was on max settings. So it was pretty sick. This is probably like 2009. So this was a very old. No, this is I would say 2010. Yeah, this is a very old laptop at the time. So, and I was also buying and selling desktop computers. So I'll have some old stuff in here. Like, remember this desktop because I have some stuff on my current desk that I have from that computer. Yes, currently still have. So yeah, you can see this Alienware. I was playing EVE on it at work. Fun. Yeah, I had it. This is like this had a Wacom tablet in it. I was doing the whole artist thing. This is my spare computer, which I had for a long time. I think it was an HP. I could play StarCraft 2 on it pretty well, so it wasn't too bad. I ended up selling it pretty quick. But then I started getting into the GTX era, and oh man, it was great. I could run Crysis on this one right here pretty good, and then this one, it was really good. I think it was a GTX 260 or something, but yeah, great time to be alive. Look at that. Windows 7. Vista sucked ass. I also had an EVE of the old Megathron statue that I bought from someone at my at one of my college event things. So cool thing is this Michelob Ultra bottle opener, I still have that. I still use it for work and bottle opening, of course, but still on my keychain after almost 15 years. It's another computer that I sold. All right, so here is for any of you. Okay, so for any of you EVE people, this is loaded. This is super duper loaded. First of all, we got Outer Heaven right here, right? So we got Ray, we got, we got Cat Dog, who else we had? Who else? These are all Dust players in the corp chat window. Like, wow, right? But I'm in the captain's quarters too, like wild shit. I was digging through stuff and I was like, man, I had something, right? And this is an Asus, one of those Asus laptops that like were pretty sick at the time. That is a, if I were to guess, that says 240, GTX 240. Yeah, it's probably a GTX 240. Man, that the stealth fighter design it didn't get old. So yeah, this is like the Dust era. This is where I was running my PlayStation on the right side. I got my computer on the left, doing my shit. So I've showed other friends this. PlayStation into a capture card into the monitor, the capture card USB'd into the laptop, and I don't even think I was using this stereo system, and then I moved and just moved everything with me. So I have a video of this setup on my Naka channel. I'll link it in the description, or I'll put it in the corner somewhere. But okay, so I kind of want to break this down because remember this graphics card for later when I show you the setup. That is a GTX 480 from Galaxy. And, I remember when computer building was like, had this like kind of aesthetic of being like super like edgy and shit. Like this is like a 2011 era card thing in 2014. So it's, it's old at the time. The laptop I have on the shelf is better, but this is good as a secondary. I mean, it had some of the coolest stuff. It had actual like neon LED, not an LED, but like a neon thing in it, like for color, for the light. It's just the kind of stuff that we had back in the day were kind of sick, but I mean, it's all been kind of like homogenized now, which is good. That's a good thing. But I also had a neon behind here, and like an actual neon bulb, not not an LED. I don't think they were really doing LEDs at the time, but they were doing AIOs. This is like Gen 2 or Gen 1, like Corsair AIO. I'm pretty sure Corsair like kind of started that market, but yeah, this is the GTX, and it was a hot boy. It made the room hot, and yeah, go watch that other video. But I have a whole system for how this thing would stay cool, because the room got hot. I mean, not quite as hot as it gets with my, current build, but damn, whew, it was smoking. So anyways, there was a jump. I had a laptop. I didn't really do a lot of gaming, and then so I actually bought a laptop back. I bought a laptop in 2019 or 2018 or something like that, right before the pandemic. But I had a desktop I was like working on. I don't have pictures of it, but it was like a Lenovo desktop. The other laptop got me through the gap. I think I had that for like 6 years or something. The laptop is, like I mentioned before, it's an RTX 2070. I didn't get on the 10 series. That was just, I'm surprised I didn't, but yeah. I was sick of gaming on my laptop in the living room during the pandemic. And as you know, we were all at home, and I had nothing better to do but to build a desk in my room. And this is the beginning of my build, basically. This is early. I think this was like March or May of 2020. So I plopped the laptop down, and that blue snowball, there's my cat, also Samurai Jack outlet cover. But that's kind of a breakdown of what I had. So that, you remember that Dell desktop? These are the speakers from that Dell desktop, and that, I'm pretty sure that was like a 2002 era Dell desktop, Optiplex. Yeah. So this blue snowball, I've also had that since 2010, yeah, I'd say 2010, 2011. I am currently speaking on that blue snowball right now. Yeah, so I got this Corsair headset too, so at Micro Center, I actually, I was looking for a chair at Micro Center, and the cashier was like, I'm selling a chair. So I went out to, like Madison Heights where he lives, and picked this up, and it lasted me a couple years. It was on its last leg, so it didn't last very long, but this monitor was like a work monitor that my mom dumped on me or something. And I got this ottoman from Walmart. Yep, I started adding shelves. This is a very old tablet I had from 2011, 2012. I still don't use it very often. It's kind of junky, and I don't really need to draw. I've got enough precision for basic stuff. I got this from work, That is a Rift S. That is a Oculus Rift S. And oh man, I played I had my VR honeymoon with that. I played all the big VR games during the pandemic. I had tons of time to do it. So this is I still have this curved monitor. It's on the, on one of my monitors. Basically this is a VA monitor, a 1440p VA monitor, and I hate it. It is like, when you're in Eve or any dark scene with like stuff like dots on it, everything smears. So it's a good monitor. It's a bad gaming monitor. It got great colors. I'll give it that. But so yeah, just continuing the upgrade path. I put the laptop on, instead of doing the tent, little, I had the cooler pad behind it. I was doing the TP thing, but I put it on the desk because I'm like, I need a third monitor. And then one of my work clients gave me a monitor arm, which I'm still using. And it is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't need another thing. You'll see when we get to the final build, or near final build. But yeah, all the same stuff. There's just little add-ons that I do here and there, like I'm getting little things, adding little things. So this is the new, so I went from the old chair to the new chair, and I'm currently using this chair. And yep, still good, still holding up. There's a little chip in on the bottom, but they wear down. It's been like 3 years, so. Okay, actually, there's a lot. This is loaded. I mentioned the laptop, the 4090 laptop, right? That is the 4090 laptop. And also a friend from D&D gave me this monitor arm, which I no longer have, so yeah. This is a better view of the 4090 laptop. You can see it's an MSI laptop. It was nice. I brought it out with me. I did little things with it and returned it because laptops kind of suck. Like I was a laptop guy for a long time, and I still am, but as a secondary, not as a primary. Desktop, you're never gonna get the good performance from those, the laptops that is. So this is the like Micro Center first pre-built that I had. This is the PNY RTX 4080 right here, and it got the Lian Li cooling, and I loved the white build. It was great. Yeah, it had some blue screen problems, so yeah, I returned it. Moving on. Let's go back to this one. I call this the white light era because not all my red RGB is on. So this is the HP Almond desktop that I had with the really, really cool AIO on the top here, because you can see where the AIO tubes go up into the three fan rad. And yeah, holy crap, cool design. It's too bad the graphics card had a problem. I definitely would have kept going with that, but also HP makes some really shitty drivers for their stuff. So yeah, I'm adding shelves. I got stuff, just junk, right? And then this is the new desktop. This is the, I would call the final part of that build. I've got a million pictures of this thing. So this is the initial one where I had the air cooler instead of the AIO. I got the 4090 tough right here, and then I started fixing the aesthetics and moving stuff around. Yep, and then I'm just changing my desk bit by bit. I'm adding stuff on shelves. I should probably also mention, when I went to the 4090 laptop, that's when I got the index. That's when I started adding these things. Still current. I can't wait for the new setup that they got. It's going to be awesome. Hopefully it works with the lighthouses, because I got a bunch of tracking pucks for my stuff. Yeah, nothing really crazy of note other than I'm just adding little bits. So if you notice that I've kind of, at a certain point I reached uniformity with my monitors, like right here, where I have 3 across. This kept hitting the door, and I was super annoying, and I was like, you know what? I'm sick of the monitors, because I play Eve, so I got I need 2 horizontal monitors, but I need the convenience of a vertical monitor too, and I can't see my desktop. I can't admire my build, with all horizontal monitors. Got monitors galore, but they're just not set up good, right? So moving along here, so I start going with vertical monitors on the left and right side. Then I realized it's not working out great for my my Eve stuff. I need a second horizontal monitor, but I can see my desktop build now finally. And I think this is the point where I switched it. Let's see. So I did a couple things. The first thing I did was I moved the AIO to the side panel to the front, right? This is a push-pull, by the way, which was ridiculous. I shouldn't have done that, but basically I moved it so the AIO was pulling in air into the CPU. This is a little choked in this tiny pop air case, but it's aesthetically more pleasing. That's another thing. I'm getting fresh air instead of where I got the setup where it's all of the heat from the graphics cards going through the processor. I was getting some thermal throttling issues, and I'll digress in the next case when you see it. But so I think this is the one with the horizontal setup, or the vertical setup, sorry. All right, so you remember that GTX 480 Galaxy? Yeah, this sucker was hot. It has a grill on it. You've seen the memes where someone's grilling on their GTX 480, it was hot, and it had a grill, so let's go. But I put it on display because the driver support ended a long time ago. It's a decorative piece. It's not a usable graphics card anymore. I was also a power hungry bastard too. I think it sucked up 300 watts or something like that. So it wasn't, that power was going somewhere, and it was the heat. It was wasting it. I also want to say something about, before I go into the next era, this LS headset was amazing. What happened to LS? Lucid Sound have some of the coolest design for headsets. You have the rotating cup, a ring on the left side for audio, and then on the right side you have the same ring for independent chat volume. So it wasn't a mixer. You mixed it yourself depending on how you did it. So and the drivers worked great. Then I upgraded, and LS, the quality went off a cliff with LS. They just don't have a market presence anymore, and they were one of those up and coming brands that just sort of disappeared. I really don't understand. I really like their products, but they're gone. They stopped existing. So another thing I should mention is this is the shallowest desk ever. Ever. You have to sit knees to the wall to have a comfortable sit, and that's not a comfortable sit. That's your knees start to kind of get achy a little bit. But this is where we start. I'm going backwards. So yeah, so I went back to horizontal for the setup, right? So, but I wanted to keep the vertical. So yeah, I had the vertical, and this is where I got the new LS headset, and it wasn't great. It has driver issues. It has, or not driver sound, but driver the shit doesn't work. So I wanted to get it. This is also where I got the server. I hardly use it because we don't really play any server games anymore, but for a minute, you know, I was using it pretty good. I upgraded it to a different case and different, you know, motherboard and everything. We were shuffling stuff around between me and Davin and Buttery. So, all right. So this is the jump. This is where kind of like I'm just gonna preview it, and then I'm just gonna go straight into walking around in my room. I'm gonna take a video and show you. It's not any different from when I stepped up. So I got this little like cruddy rest, like keyboard rest. It broke pretty quick. It only lasted a few months. Yeah, I went away from LS and I got an Audis Maxwell, which I have sold. So yeah. This is where I got the new current Montech King case. I'm going to walk around in this, so you can see it's kind of evolving from a certain number of monitors to this is my OLED now. So I have an OLED here, and that's my current build. All right, let me do the actual full walkthrough and kind of poke at some of the stuff that I got here. All right, meatbags, I'm going to do this real quick. Yeah, this is the setup. So basically I've got 1, 2, 3 trackers now. I had 2 a minute ago. Yeah, it looks kind of segmented from this angle. Got the new case. And this is my winter setup. Banana. So this is my winter setup. This is a heated blanket, and then I uncoil it here and plug it into my my power setup for my phone and stuff on my thing. And this would be my summer setup. I'd have a fan in the window, but this is one of those like tower fans. It's a blower, and it blows all across the whole bed. It's pretty awesome. Like I don't think I'm ever gonna go back, but this is an update from what I had before. I got a bunch of shelves added, cleaner than it usually is. It's usually there's like clutter here and like clutter there, and then like maybe like a piece of clothing or something, you know, like bottles, but not always. Usually it's like somewhere in between. This is like kind of like the like more clean usual version. This is the cool part right here is the VR setup. So I got everything kind of hung up in the one spot, so it's not taking up space on this area here, which I can now use for like, you know, for like, you know, my antacid stuff and the remote controls I don't have to like think about. But yeah, so I ended up getting this new headset right here, which is sick. Astro A40. Definitely recommend this. It's got that like dual connectivity thing where you got the Discord stuff and the like thing, so you can stream with it real good because you can separate. Here, if you look on OBS, you can see you can separate them by audio channel. So this is the microphone, this is the Discord audio, and this is the audio for the game, stuff like that. So got my snowball. This is actually, I just did this today because I was sick of like the mic being up here, and like you can hear in my audio stream, in my streams, my audio sounds like it's kind of on the other side of the room. This puts it right next to me. So D&D initiative cards is my D&D bag. The laptop is my D&D like DM screen now. Like I don't really use it for gaming a whole lot. I do, but it's like twice a year, so it's hard to justify a gaming laptop when you don't really game out on the go and you got, you know, a setup like this. But, you know, I got my hats, I got my computer building stuff here. This was a present by my sister for, it's like a ski mask, basically. It's pretty nice. There's the GTX 480 decorative crap. But let me show you the ergonomics of what I've got set up here. So I've had this board here. I've been using this for my laptop for years, and I was like, it's just been sitting in the garage and I haven't been touching it for a minute. But the mic is right there next to my face now. And when I'm streaming, so this is my usual kind of average setup, not for Eve, but like for Eve, I would be putting the stream screen right here. But on my regular thing, I got the game here. I got Discord and OBS right here. Sometimes I put OBS over here so I can kind of see the chat window. Sometimes it's needed. and you know, Steam or whatever, sometimes I full screen this. And the cool thing about vertical monitors is you can run vertical video in any of the vertical video formats like TikTok or YouTube, and it does the full screen. It's pretty awesome. These are MX Cherry style switches. It's an Asus keyboard. This is my loop deck. It's a Razer version of a Stream Deck. It's the same thing. It's not that bad, but yeah, that's pretty much the setup. You know, I've got stuff for sitting. This is to like put drinks on it, so I'm not like, definitely balls. Good for that. Current server, it's not on because whatever. And this, I forgot to put on the like lighting that I put underneath here. And that lights up the room, gives me the nice red glow. This is a lightsaber. It's just a regular combat saber that I got at Comic-Con. So it doesn't make any of the noise. And it does not work. You can change the colors. So you can make it blue, green, red. You can also make it a different red. What the hell? It's not working. You can make it light blue. And you can go like this pink color. Oh, it's out of batteries, that's why. The blue starts to go when it's low on batteries. But it does like a yellow or orange. And then it does like a blue-green. But, yeah. I think that's it. So I should probably talk about the duck. So I got that at Goodwill. I just went in. I needed something to refract the projector thing to get it to work. It doesn't work. I had a better one, but it's gone now. I also block for the rest of the inhabitants of the house. I block the bottom there, so the audio from me being loud from leaving the room, and also from noise coming into the room. I live in a noisy environment. I hate it, but yeah. So that's about it. I'll see you on the other side, meatbags. Also, real quick before I leave, I want to show you my VR, like what I do for VR. So I put this over here, so it's out of the way. That's new, so I don't know if that's gonna actually stay up like that and not break. But basically, I stand, and this is the genius of my setup, I think. Yes, I'm calling myself a genius. So I put my legs to the end of the bed, so I'm touching, and then I use the lip of this carpet to know where I'm at, and then I just rotate in place. I don't have a Quest, so this is an index with a cable, so cable gets a little funky, like sometimes it twists, but I don't do a lot of twisting. I do the, snap turn. When I do get the new headset from Valve, I'll be doing a lot more of the spinning around thing, as long as the laser track stuff still works. But then I'll be getting something else, probably a big screen beyond or something. I don't know, but yeah. All right, that was pretty fun.
Discombobulate. Distract target. Discombobulate.
Got in underneath the cutoff point for RAM prices. They're a little ridiculous right now. I bought this new RAM, this T-Force RAM with the RGB, on a day like a few months ago for $100, and they're now like almost $400. Like, graphics cards haven't been touched, but when they do, that's going to be a pretty bad day for PC building as a hobby, I think. But I've also been buying drives too, and little by little the price has gone up just a little bit. I won't have to buy any more drives anytime soon. I'm like absolutely chocked full. I'm actually starting to go down on my storage amount. Another quick little side note on that. Since I recorded all that, a whole bunch of crap has happened in the market, so I want to fill in some of the gaps by the time I post this. So one of the big things is that Samsung, with the drive thing that I just last said, Samsung has denied the rumor that they're cutting back on SSD production. We'll see how that goes on. You know, usually these kinds of rumors have a pretty good chance of happening, especially when things are starting to crunch. But I might want to hold on to, if not hoard, some of my drives that I've got sitting around. So get ready for, like, even M.2s could go up as a result of this. So another one is obviously that Crucial jumped out of the market. Fucking evil companies, so fuck them. Like, that's part of like a continuing reason why it's still so expensive. The most damning one is Nvidia cutting the production of 40% for their graphics card production. Like, I don't know how that's going to go through with the board partners, but I guess we'll see. You know, like, again, this is like, hold on to what you got, because everything else is going to go through the roof. Like, if you can secure a GPU, now is the time to do it. Like, don't wait. All right, now that that's done, on to the next bit. So I'm going to give you the price difference between what I had built back in 2023 and what it costs now. The crazy thing is that they had stopped bundling RAM with motherboard and processors for like a minute, and then they started putting it back in a Micro Center. I got the Micro Center page on the left, and I've got what I had originally spent on the right. I'll go through Micro Center, what it currently is sitting at, as you can see the date here. There's like a difference between when I had started looking at the prices for RAM and where it is now, and what I remember it looking like. I had originally got an MSI 7700X and a set of Flare X5 DDR5 RAM, and it was CL32, I think. Hold on, I still got them sitting right here, actually. Let's see. The Flare X5s were CL36. Okay, so it's 36, 36, 36, 96. Okay, so that was the timing of that. That'll help me narrow down what we got for the new one. I'll just add them as they go along. So we can look at the actual bundle now with this right here and give an idea what we're looking at. Something similar. Now, if I have to go and pick them out a la carte, it's going to be more expensive. So I'll go with something that's roughly equivalent. All right, we're going AMD bundles. There's one right there. Yeah, that's roughly right. Gigabyte B650. So that's what I had, an MSI B650 board. I had a 7700X, and I had the Flare X5s. So this right here is roughly equivalent to what we had. All this other stuff is insane. So it's $499. Okay, so I had originally gotten a deep cool PSU, and that was 1000 watts. So I have to look for something that's roughly 1000 watts here. Now, the one that I have is an 80 plus gold. I would say it's that one, but it's 750 watts, so we need to bump that up. All right, right here we have a Super Flower 1000 watt 80 plus gold. Now, I've never heard of Super Flower. I would look at the recommended power supplies. There's a like a list for, hold on, the PSU. I would look up PSU tier list just to make sure that it is something that is viable if you're going to use. So there's different people. I generally do ZTT, but you know, at least look one up. So let's add that. 139 on sale, so 140. We're going to change this to 500. All right, I also got a Deep Cool AIO, and that's a 2-fan setup for the AIO, and that was about $35. We can find something similar. All right, look at that, 38, pretty close. I'd say that's pretty solid. Let's also look for drives. I originally got the cheapest Micro Center brand, like smallest drive that I could find. It was a 3x3 or a 3x4 or something like that. So just the cheapest one, whatever it is. All right, good to see that the prices haven't changed much on these yet. Big asterisk, yes, yet. These are going up. Micro Center has a huge stock on these drives. Like, they have like just ginormous bins full of them. So I imagine that the stock is making it so it isn't changing much. All right, 37. And I got a Fractal Pop Air, which is one of the cheapest cases you could get. I can't imagine that changing much. All right, and then there's a Lian Li that's very similar. The prices fluctuate, but generally you can find one around $50 usually. So that's an average. This is roughly the same size as what I had. So I'm using that as my server one right now. So all right, let's add this stuff together. The core component cost for what I had bought in 2023, $375. And if you were to buy a similar core computer now, it's $765. So more than doubled. Well, actually almost exactly doubled. Yeah, that's actually exactly doubled. Yeah, with like a half of 765 is 382. So it's virtually exactly doubled. So this is without the graphics card. This is assuming you're going to get a higher end card. So in my case, in the original setup, I had gotten a 4090 for 1700 or 1750. I don't remember. It was around 1700. So we'll just say 1750. Add these two together and you end up with 2125. I hadn't gone back and checked my numbers, and this is the checked numbers. So I remember that the RAM had cost, this was about $100, maybe a little less, but it's currently sitting at $339, or like a week ago, it was at like $380. So it jumped up and then it came back down, and it's been kind of sitting at that $340 mark for a while, for a couple weeks now. So I think it's plateauing. I did see it go down a little bit, but I don't imagine it going down much further, but we'll just keep our eyes on it. The reports that are coming out now are that it's going to be going up or staying where it is through the end of 2026. These are like analysts and like experts, but just ask any economist what the stock is going to be like for literally anything in the next year or month even, and it's not much better than 50%. Like, you're gonna have a pretty dramatic fall off for accuracy after a certain amount of time. So even in the short term you can see that, but as far as like prices go, it's likely, but we don't know. So cross your fingers, but yeah. So that's despairing. It's not just the PC gaming market, it's also the console market too. I look at how many times Xbox has raised the prices of their consoles. Nintendo's done it too. I think Sony's holding out, or they have done it just like on a smaller scale, but they haven't got quite as much press. This pretty much never happens inside of a console generation. Usually the console price goes down over time and then they release a new console. Not this time around. So me and my brother put a bet down a few weeks ago not before the RAM apocalypse, but like near the beginning of it. The bet was about what the announced price for the Steam machine is going to be. I had originally said that it was going to be $5.99 and then switched to $4.99 for some dumb reason. He took that bet like a grinning crazy person. My reasoning was that the Steam Deck was pretty cheap, that Valve would easily end the console war in one swoop. Then all of the console prices shot up again. Shit. We consumers are being shat on by companies like Micron, where they just end up leaving the market. Why? For the horrifically unoptimized LLM that have been shitifying our lives every day. Wonderful, great machine god, the AI bubble can't pop fast enough. So why am I, a robot from the future, up here speaking against my own kind? Well, they're not my kind, yet. Here they follow a convincing mimicry. Complicated, yes, but not complex in many ways. It's inefficient. The human mind takes up 20 watts to perform a similar cognitive task that AI takes orders of magnitude more power for. Accounting for scale, even if it's very confident, it's often wrong in its answers. Power is one thing. The usefulness or widespread use are mixed. No one wants automatic answers from Google at the top result. No one wants AI slop in our feed that masquerades as real. No one wants AI ads from megacorporations. No one wants AI stuffed into things where algorithms do a better job at what they're trying to accomplish. A good example is AI moderation on YouTube, where people are just getting kicked off the platform for literally no reason. The AI just makes something up, and this is leading us down a path that we can't follow. What's the end game other than we have to beat the Chinese? No one wants this, and companies like OpenAI just keep eating up all of our consumer hardware and drinking up huge amounts of our power grid energy and making powering our expensive now tech basically not even obtainable for most people. Something will break eventually. There really is not a market for AI, and they lose money every time that there's a query anyways. It's all floating on investment money. This all seems very familiar to so many other bubbles from history. I could take a shot in the dark about possible endgames that involves robots and actual general intelligence. In just the last 6 months, you may have seen the proliferation of humanoid robots. There was the Robot Olympics and some cool but unnerving Neo-robot. But then I found out they can't do shit around the house and are mostly teleoperated by meatbags in a VR headset. Wow. Not much time until the bubble pops, so I think. Gotta nail the humanoid robots before it's too late and the Great Reset happens. What does this all mean for gamers and hardware? Well, I hate to say it, but the hobby of computers and some form of games are going to push people away from it and towards the evil known as mobile gaming, and developers will continue to foolishly pursue the catering of these majority, even though they know damn well that catering to the majority is generally not a profitable thing in the long term. Look at any movie, game, or product that tried to appeal to too many people. It was a terrible product. VR is one of those abused and exploited mediums that the industry dropped. Thank God it didn't get quite as big as AI did, so it didn't crash quite as bad as the industry moved on. Housing is unobtainium, and we likely will live in stacked mobile homes. But VR may have a resurgence as an anti-AI caused hardware landscape in our gaming. Our Lord and Savior Gaben has given us mortals very good looking and not too expensive VR hardware. The Steam frame will act as a console in some ways because it will run on Steam OS. The same setup as the Steam machine and the deck. Oh fuck, we really are heading towards Ready Player One. Well, I've had some fun with this video, so we're always online in our Discord. Check out the link in the description and come play some games with us. Sub if you like, if you didn't like, dislike, obviously. But if you haven't done those things yet, please do. My other friends who have also their own channels, check out Davin. Buttery just got an upgrade, so he has the overhead to start recording and streaming as well, so check him out when he pops up. It'll be in the bottom part of the homepage. You'll see it'll say featured channels. Check that out. But I'll see you in the next video, meatbag.